I'm hoping to get some epic tree images on Great Mell Fell. Why not come with me? Well, good afternoon, and once again you find me out and about in the Lake District, somewhere a little more off the beaten track today, and I'm heading up Great Mell Fell, which isn't a particularly big fell, although it does stand out a bit. It's just south of the A66, probably about 5 or 6, maybe a bit more miles from east of Keswick, and the road you turn off on, eventually if you carried on south you'd get to what do they call them, Air Force Falls on Ullswater. So that gives you some idea where we are. But the idea of here, I have been up here because I've done all the Wainwrights, and this is a Wainwright, but it is renowned for having some old weather-beaten trees, etc. So I mean, that's the whole idea of coming here, trying to get some epic or exquisite, not quite sure which word to use, tree images from the top of Great Mell Fell. But I've just parked the van, and what did amaze me is the amount of cars parked there, given that we're not a particularly touristy spot. But I'm just walking through the lower woods here, and I am impressed with some of the colours of the trees. And I've just come across, that's quite a nice tree there. So yeah, I'll just turn around. We'll see there. I don't know whether you can see there, that tree there. That's quite a nice tree, possibly. And if you turn a bit further around, you can just see, if I can get the colours there, are quite splendid, aren't they there? Now, whether I can get some images in the wood here before we go up, I don't know. So I'll have a bit of mooch around, see what we can find, and we'll see you a little bit later. Right, well, we've made it to the top and we've come up with our first composition. Although there was some nice colours in the lower woodland, I just couldn't come up with a composition, and I was having to concentrate on the path because it was very muddy and very slippery in places. So yeah, we're on the top, and I don't know whether you can hear, but it's extremely windy at the moment. But you can see there's this tree, and it's just the slant of the top. And I mean, I'm not quite sure how it will look when the image comes out, because obviously we're on a slope as well, so it may look wonky, but the camera was more or less level. So yeah, it's difficult because there are other trees around. So what I did was I focused actually on the tree and did f2.8 just to try and maybe blur the other trees a bit. And you can see the cameras, if we come down, the camera's down, or the tripod's there, the camera's actually down there on the floor. It's just so windy, I didn't want to risk while I'm doing this. I don't think it would blow over, but yeah, it sounds quite good. And if it's going to be this windy, it's going to be quite interesting. So I haven't had the drone out for a long time. I keep thinking about it and keep bringing it with me, and then it's just all too windy. So yeah, well, we'll see how that is, and we'll put the image up and we'll have a wander around and see what else we can find. So we'll see you a little bit later. Right, we haven't come far at all. Literally the other side of the tree. The tree you're seeing at the moment is the one we've just previously captured the image of and you'll have seen, and we've literally coming up onto the path which is just up there. And as I look down, which I hadn't seen from the other side of the tree, that tree, there's this dead tree here, and I don't know whether I've seen this one on a video before, but I just thought, yeah, I must get an image of that. That is, I don't know, there's just something about it. And so that's the tree, and if we come right down, that's the camera right down there. It's very low. It's very stable because the legs are sprayed out to a second notch just to get it low, although it was a bit too low, so I did raise the center pole just a bit. So yeah, there are some reeds at the front, and I have taken a portrait image, and what I've done is I focused on the tree. I've done f8, so most things will be in focus. I didn't want the hills in the background to be totally blurred, etc. So there might be slightly blurred because the tree is the main thing, and I have focused on that, but you certainly can see them. And I've put the tree to the top of the frame because in general I don't like 2x3 portrait images. I prefer to squash them down to is it 5x4 or 4x5, whichever way. So I've got the tree towards the top of the frame, and there is some of the reeds and the foreground at the bottom that could quite easily be cropped off to give it that 4x5 yeah, the 4x5, I can't think of the word, frame, crop, or whatever you want to call it. So yeah, no, that is, I mean, just looking at it here, I think it is just dead, but the way there's bits of twigs going off, it is leaning across as well, as you can see. So yeah, I mean, that I'm really pleased with that one. I think that is a brilliant thing. And the reason for coming low, which I didn't explain, was obviously if we look at it there now, the branch that's coming out at the bottom is intersecting the hill. So we've come low, so those branches are all in the sky because we don't want them intersecting the hills, etc. So that's why I've come low, and we've got some clouds and a bit of blue sky. So yeah, I'm just really chuffed with that one. Hopefully it'll, once it's processed, it'll fulfill my expectations. So yeah, we'll put an image of that up and we'll head up further towards the summit and see what other trees we can find. So we'll see you a little bit later. Right, well we've got to the summit, and as I remembered, there's not an awful lot here. It's just a little bit of a mound. It's quite good views though. We're looking in that direction to the Pennines and Penrith. As we look down that way, we should be able to, it's half windy, be able to see the A66, and then across there we've got Blencathra, and probably behind it that you can't see is Skiddaw, and then there's Grisdale Pike or whatever in the background, and then if we come round there's Clough Head, and then the Helvellyn range. So yeah, and obviously that's where we've come to, down in that direction, although you can't see it because of all the mountains, is Ullswater. So yeah, we're going to head back down. There was one or two trees I spotted on the way up that I thought might be useful. I just thought let's get to the top and then we'll head back down and we'll possibly capture their image. I did take one handheld, and if it was any good, you'll have seen it by now. The light was just catching some trees, and I think it had partly gone by the time I got the image. Well, it might come up in post, so we'll see. But we're going to head back down. There are some trees that I'm going to try and capture the image of before we head back home. So yeah, we'll see you a little bit later. Right, well we've come to this tree that I'd seen on the way up, and what I like about it, I'll zoom into it, is the way that the branches are just bent round with a constant wind. They're just bent over, and the sort of, I just find it fascinating. So it was a little difficult to capture because there's another tree stroke bush here, and then there's one through the gap, and you're just trying to get a composition where they are separated. So where, if I come in front of the camera, hopefully you can see I've got the little tree in, but we're separated from the bush, and that is out of the frame. We've zoomed in sufficiently to to fit all the tree in and the little tree to the side, but avoiding this bush here. So yeah, I think it's just exquisite the way it all bends round with a constant wind, same way it will be blowing today, which is from the west to the east, and just bending the branches round, and that's how they're forming. So yeah, it's fascinating. So we'll put that image up, and we'll try and find another one as we head back towards where the van is. So we'll see you a little bit later. Right, well we've come up what was possibly our final composition. I think just seeing the distant background there's this tree. So that's the sort of subject. But what I'll do is we'll start recording through, is that recording? Right, we'll start recording through the stills camera, so I'll bring that up, and you can see, as I've explained before, the actual composition on the video and the still bit is slightly different, but you can see we've got the tree there, and I've focused on the tree. I've taken a couple of ones, one at f8 and one at f5.6, just wanting the background to be seen but slightly blurred, and I wanted the tree to stand out. And I have got, I think, a composition when you see that the sort of light colours there when the sun was out and the light was really catching that. And then we've got a small tree there, some bushes there, and then the mountains behind. And I just, looking at the back of the camera, I don't know what you think, but that looks a brilliant, to me, but I'm no expert, a brilliant image. So we've captured that. We'll obviously put it up. We'll just, yeah, I don't think, I mean, I may crop it down to 9:16 instead of the normal 2:3, but we'll see, because there is the grasses at the bottom there. So yeah, so we'll stop that recording there. And yeah, I was saying there's a tree that I saw on the way up, but there's people sat round it and sat in it having presumably a late lunch by the time I came there, or a snack. So I'm passing it on the way back. I don't know whether we'll have a go and look. If it's possible, I'll vlog it. If I just don't think it's not feasible, we'll just carry on back down to the van. And either way, we'll put this image up and we'll see you a little bit later. Right, well, this is the final composition. This was the tree I was talking about. You can see, it's interesting that you can see in the background there's some light on Little Mell Fell, and we're on Great Mell Fell. So that's the tree. There was just something about it I quite liked. I was hoping to be able to get low enough so it would all be above the horizon, but given its situation, it's not really possible. So what I decided was, and if I come round here, we'll see down there, that's where the camera is, getting very low. All the last images, as you've been aware, have been taken at a very low perspective. So if I come down with the camera, you'll see that's the sort of, if I just zoom out a bit, that's the sort of image we're looking at. There was a bit of sun on it earlier. The sun keeps coming and going at the moment. It's probably only an hour and a half or maybe a little bit more away from sunset. So yeah, but it's a nice little tree. It's an old oak tree. I'm not quite sure what the other ones were. As I say, I'm not really a tree person, but yeah, I'm quite pleased with that, and hopefully it will look quite good when the image comes up. I've tried it at different shutter speeds, but that's been dictated to by different apertures to try and blur the background or not blur the background. So whichever's best we'll put up on the video, and hopefully I've got one, because it is quite windy, and it wasn't a super quick I suppose. It was round about, one of them was round about the hundredth of a second, so hopefully we've managed to get it so there's no real movement of the branches or etc. So yeah, we'll put that image on, and then we're definitely heading back for the van and then home for tea. So yeah, we'll see you a little bit later. Right, well, we're on our way down now, so I'm just gonna close the video. So yeah, it's been a great afternoon. It's a place I have been before, not particularly with the camera, and having been with the camera, it is a place I would return to. I believe I've got at least 5 acceptable images, and possibly 2, or at least 2 what I would say are quite good images. So yeah, it was good. It's different to my normal photography, but coming and doing different things just keeps the passion going. So yeah, I'm normally taking the big vistas or possibly zooming in, but it's not often I do trees. But having said that, I do like I have said before, I do like a lone tree, like the one at Rydalwater or Buttermere, or there's one just off Castle Crag. So I suppose this, in a sense, wasn't really that much different to that, thinking about it, because a lot of the images were, in a sense, well, they weren't lone trees because there was a lot of trees around, but the composition was to just capture that one tree to try and make it appear that it's on its own. So yeah, I'm pleased. So yeah, just to remind people, if you enjoyed the video, if you haven't already done so, please click the thumbs up. If you like what I'm doing, why not subscribe? And please, if there's any thoughts or whatever, please comment. All comments are much appreciated. It's I mean, all those do the channel great good. It just lets the algorithm know that people like it, so it's worth spreading, because there might be other people that would appreciate it. So yeah, the channel's growing. I mean, one thing, my next target was to be doing in excess of, in the sort of on a running annual basis, in excess of 3,000 hours of viewing, which sounds like an awful lot, but I anticipate that within the next 2 or 3 weeks I will surpass that, because the viewing I'm getting now compared to a year ago are a lot more. So as one day drops off at the end and a new day comes on, often the day that is dropping off has a lot less viewing hours than the day coming up. So yeah, that's good, and that will allow certain things within YouTube. I'm not quite sure what, but that's so. Yeah, and what else have we got planned? Well, I'm not sure. Today's Saturday. The video that I went out on Monday, which was where did I go? Forgotten now. Anyway, I haven't quite finished processing that, so I need to get that finished processed tonight / tomorrow, so we can get that up tomorrow for 5 o'clock, all being well, for people to see. Oh, Cathedral Cave, that was it. I went to Slater Bridge and Cathedral Cave, which was an enjoyable afternoon. So, and this one I've struggled with, because part of the week I've still got a bit of a heavy cold, so doing this just take it out of you. I mean, on Thursday I had to cancel work I was just almost wiped out, and doing this now hasn't helped, but I am on the road to recovery. I mean, on Thursday there's no way I could have come out and done this, so I'm not quite sure. I mean, the aim will be to get this one up for next weekend. My wife was talking about possibly going and visiting my son and stopping overnight. So if she does that, I'll maybe try and get a couple of days out with the camera, see if I can get ahead of myself, which is I keep trying to do, but don't often succeed. So yeah, we'll try and do that. So right, I think I've rambled enough, and I've come to a style here that I've got to go over. So yeah, we'll stop it there, and we'll see you on the next video.